All right, we are all set. Very well. We begin today's meeting and we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. And the first part is introductions because we have new commissioners that have joined us. So it might be helpful to say your name, how long you've served on the commission, or if you have other previous commission experience. And if you want to share any additional information about yourself, you can. Would one of the commissioners like to start us off?
Well, I guess I'm sitting on it. I'm Jim Vasifchi. I'm a commissioner from Lafayette Hill. I have been on this commission for the better part of 20 years, maybe close to 10. I am also serving on two other commissions. One is the Emergency Preparedness Committee. We call them committee, not commission, in Los Altos Hills. And also I'm commissioner on the fire district for Los Altos Hills.
Hi, I'm Jane Cohen. I'm finishing 4 years on the commission, so I'm entering the 5th. I'm a retired nurse educator, and welcome. Well, welcome from all of us, and I'm Sharbari Dixit, and I'm the newbie of this commission. But at this point, I'm ending my term as chair.
Bill Buckles, retired oncologist. I think I have one more year left of officialness. I've been unofficial also. Interested particularly in making the senior commission more results achieved. But I think that we have the wisdom and the experience to set priorities and to act upon them with due respect for the staff and at least from my point of view, I need really to educate myself on how the staff is allowed to work in different ways. It is shooting our feet off if we don't really respect and cultivate the well-being of the staff as well as the well-being of people in the field.
Otherwise, I'll go on for another half hour.
Okay, I'll start.
Chris Olson, just finished my first year and I'm still retired. I'm still pretty active though in research and clinical care at Stanford and Department of Psychiatry at the School of Medicine. And so I am a senior myself and very committed to improving, particularly the mental health of seniors. I think that's something that isn't well addressed yet, and I hope that I can bring some experience, insight into how we can do that as a community. Very nice.
We have just the right ad hoc subcommittee for you to serve on. I'm kidding. No. Yeah. Will be used.
Oh, I'm lost. I'm Nomi Trapnell, and it's not Naomi, it's Nomi, like to know me. Anyway, I've had a very good career in the technical computer field, and I've worked for almost every company you can name. And I retired from HP finally. My husband and I own a house on University Avenue, and we've been in Los Altos for over 40 years. But we decided to move into a retirement community. About 3 months ago, we moved into Bridgepoint. And we love it. We still have our house, so. So I was surprised because I thought we would never move into a retirement community. But they do everything for you. I don't have to shop. Anymore. I have been on the historical commission for 6 years,
Yeah, which commission?
historical. I was also president of the Los Altos History Museum. So I like history. And I've done a lot of volunteering. And my husband gave me a sign that says, "Stop me before I volunteer again." But I did it anyway. That's it.
Very cute. Thank you.
And we'll include on this side as well. I'll just say, my name is Jamie Chu. I'm the Parks and Recreation Deputy Director and the current staff liaison for the Senior Commission. Have been working with this commission at least for the last, I think, 3 years, but I've also been the liaison for the Library Commission, and I've done many other commissions in the previous agencies that I've worked for as well too.
My name is Bridget Matheson, Recreation Supervisor for our department, and this is my boss over here. And been involved with the Senior Commission in different capacities, you know, programming, things like that. So it's nice to meet the new commissioners, see everybody.
Hi, I'm Ann Keegren. I work for the Center for Age Family Excellence. And we'll be presenting the action plan this afternoon. In regards to background, I originally came from a health background, was a psychiatric nurse for many years, and then changed career paths completely to politics and served 17 years on the city council for 10 years. Grew up in the city. So retired from there 2 years ago and then started. Okay. I'm Lynette Lee, I'm on the city council. I was on the Parks Commission when I pushed to have a senior committee, which then evolved to be a commission. So I am so glad that the senior commission is going strong and doing wonderful things. And to be on council and be your liaison as well is so wonderful. So thank you all for all your good work and thank you for your willingness to serve.
My name is Candace Avena. I am a recreation coordinator here for the City of Los Altos Parks and Recreation Department. I've been with the department approximately 17 years. I worked 10 years in the senior program or adult 50+ program, and I've worked the last 6 with the preschool age special events and special events. I did just mention. I am helping to with the administration of the senior commission. So I work closely with Jamie to get your minutes out and to support any of the back end that needs to be. Thank you.
And we do have our council liaison from Los Altos Hills joining us virtually.
That's right. My name is George Tyson. I'm on the City Council of Los Altos Hills, and it's great to see you all.
Thank you.
So I will go ahead and move on to establishing a quorum. So I will start with Chair Dixon, Commissioner Buckholz,
Here.
Commissioner Olson,
Here.
Commissioner Thompson,
Here.
Commissioner Trapnell,
Here.
Commissioner Basigi, and Vice Chair Cohen.
Here.
All right, we do have a full commission of 7 commissioners present. So we can go ahead and stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So there is one public comment that is specific to agenda item 4. So there are no comments for items not on the agenda at this time.
when we come to that item? All right. All right, shall we move on to the first item for consideration? The senior commissioners reorganization to appoint a chair and vice chair for 24-25.
Yes, so we can go ahead and take the positions individually. So just as a reminder, this is to select a chair and vice chair to serve a one-year term. It would begin once that person is selected for this meeting, serving through September of 2025. And again, it would be for the chair and vice chair. So with that, we can go ahead and open the floor for nominations for the chair position.
I nominate Jane Cohen.
I second.
Wonderful.
Are there any other nominations for chair? Okay, so it doesn't need necessarily, but we can go ahead. Are all those who would like to support Jane Cohen as the chair, say aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? No. So it
Yes.
sounds like it is unanimous that Jane Cohen has been selected as the chair. Right, we can now open the floor for nominations for vice chair.
May I suggest that maybe the new commissioners try out the position?
I think
I didn't know any.
I like to recommend Bill Paul.
Yes. I would like to second this.
Decline.
Do it.
Okay.
I decline.
Okay, that's fine.
I decline.
Well,
Chris, would you like to, I would like to, I would like to nominate Chris to. Okay, I'll put that. Okay. We like, okay. Somebody second it, please.
Second.
Is there any other nominations for vice chair? Okay. All right, all those in favor to have Commissioner Chris Olson serve in the vice chair position, say aye. Any nays? Okay, so we now have our chair and vice chair for the next term. Okay, so with that, yes.
You take over the meeting and I said, oh, very good. Oh, yes. Please say this after. Okay, we're moving on to the minutes. Everybody received the minutes in their packets. And if someone like to make a motion.
I have written minutes and I've been talking in the audience, so I move that we approve the minutes.
There's a second. Any discussion on that now before we vote? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Abstaining because I wasn't here, so I can't speak to the validity.
For a second.
Okay. I
I was absent, but I read the minutes.
Yeah, if you read the minutes and you watch the meeting, you agree that the minutes were in line with the meeting. So just,
Yes, so to further expand on what Councilmember Lee Ing said, you don't necessarily have to be present at the meeting, as so long as that the other commissioners that may have been present can attest to they accurately represent, you can vote on approval of the minutes if you would like, but you can choose to abstain.
So I was thinking I couldn't watch, but I read the minutes, that's it. Okay, so there's one abstention or two.
none, I vote to pass. That is
Okay,
within
so
this
we're
information.
abstentions right now. Abstention one abstention.
And then let's just confirm, so one abstention, and then who are the ayes, if you can just raise your hand. So the 6 ayes and 1 abstention. Yep, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, everyone. Okay. 1, 2, 3, age friendly.
Yeah, and then let me just share my screen so that everyone in the meeting can actually view. And this was included in your packet as well.
Right after the
Just
minutes.
take a minute to come up. There we go.
Okay, so actually, I've been working with the task force and, Los Altos staff, since January of this year, in developing this action plan. We bumped into a little bit of a hiccup when we found out that when you were certified through the World Health Organization, it wasn't enough in order to move forward with the action plan. We had to get certified through the AARP. So we did that since we figured, well, I'm already here and it was actually an opportunity to be able to gather more information. And so we conducted a variety of focus groups and town hall meetings and then incorporated that data with the AARP survey in coming up with this action plan. And then also I had the opportunity to interview a variety of Los Altos staff to also get their perception and what they felt was age-friendly projects that they're already implementing and what they'd like to see potentially, you know, futuristically. So that is how this came about with a huge help from the task force and their input over the year. And so that's how we came up with this action plan. And I'm hoping that all of you, had the opportunity to read this before today. We have edited this. We are on draft 9. And so we think that we're really at the tail end of this. So it's kind of just, there's minor edits that maybe we forgot. I can incorporate those edits for our kind of last draft with my graphic artist. And then we plan on presenting to the city council then in November. So that's kind of the timeline. Our deadline was in December, so we've been able to follow that timeline. And since the senior commission was a huge factor in really wanting an action plan, I've been working kind of on the certification for age-friendly cities. I felt it was important that I had the opportunity to present to you all, and also senior commission is definitely mentioned through this action plan, especially the original commission that kind of started all this with Dr. Annabelle Pelham, who is my boss, and then the current senior commission. So I don't particularly want to go through this page by page because there's quite a few pages. But I thought I would kind of conduct this the same way I did with the task force members, and that if people had comments in general, just to let me know, and then we can kind of write those down. And then if for some reason we don't cover it, today, and you go home and go, oh my gosh, I forgot to tell her this, you are more than welcome to email Jamie, and then Jamie will also incorporate it in the plan. Jamie has been a huge supporter and advocate for the action plan. And so we've been working quite closely this year in coming up with a final project here. So I'll let maybe the new chair kind of decide, who wants to talk first.
It's a lengthy document. It's not easy, but it's very thorough. And Bill, would you like to speak?
And Jane and Bill are at an advantage because they've been working on the task force through this full time period. So if you want to actually maybe start out with comments.
Except that's ACC.
I read it as well by Mary, and I was blown away by how thorough it was, how truly complete it was in terms of addressing all the issues that I would personally consider to be very important to the senior community living in a place like this. And so I'm actually blown away by how much work has been done for $30,000. This budget was $30,000, right? This looks like $100,000 job. But anyway, it's fantastic. It's well done. Yeah.
So she get a raise? Is that what you're suggesting?
Well,
No, okay.
I think,
Okay. I like going to a brownie point.
I have a couple of questions. How will we coordinate? You have, the departments. I'm looking at the health, which is.
What page are you on so we can
I'm
go through?
on domain 8,
8?
page 40? Yeah, 40.
Not 840. Domain 8.
Domain 8.
Page, oh. Domain 8.
Giving coordination between departments, this and any of the other. Domains. It's gonna require a lot of people doing stuff. I personally think.
Sorry, no, for some reason, I'm not able to load. I loaded up to page 25 and for some reason it's not continuing to load.
Yeah, let me,
Is there an extra hard copy she can see?
yes, hold on one minute. We do have, there's one at the front.
Can I get one too?
That's really broad question.
Okay, sorry, so if you wouldn't mind, because I was trying to find the page and then I kind of lost it.
Coordinating with the various partners.
Okay.
In the case. Kind of. People to really work together. How do we organize? So I see Stanford and community. Both healthcare systems. Both the local clinics. How are we going to consensus of these particular strategies? You've got a list of 7 different strategies.
Right, that I think, a lot of it is going to depend on, the senior commission and council in regards to how you're going to move forward with this action plan. And so, what I have suggested with other cities I've worked with is that, for those who don't have a senior commission, although you do have one way of maybe approaching this is looking at the various domains and kind of breaking up your senior commission. So, 2 will take transportation, 2 will take housing and kind of do it, that way. And then also work as liaisons to your council. And then kind of, figure out.
I'm sorry, the 2 who are 2 assigned to domain X.
yeah, ad hoc subcommittees are be assigned to each one of the domains.
Yes, that you work with, council members, and not the majority, of course. But to kind of keep them in tune of what you are thinking as strategies, because my understanding is senior commission is kind of taking on this action plan, am I correct?
I think it's gonna be a portion of that and, I think they can make, recommendations on maybe some of the priorities or some of the projects that they would like to see, maybe take top priority. But there are, and I think that's one of the things that, we sit down at a future, senior commission meeting, because there are some of these projects that staff are going to start implementing, already, not necessarily needing, the recommendation from the senior commission, like creating, an online resource webpage. That is something that we are already going to be implementing so that there is a kind of a one-stop shop where they can look at all of this information, that age-friendly webpage that they mentioned. And then in addition, having a hard copy of those resources here at the community center and maybe other locations like the library or city hall. So there are some of the projects that city staff will already start to implement. And so maybe at one of the future meetings of the senior commission, we can look at and prioritize which other projects, which maybe staff are not quite ready to move on, and maybe get input on maybe what should be a focus.
Be able to track what the staff is doing.
That would be through me and obviously what we can bring forward and present to the commission itself.
Would one of the next steps be for us to volunteer about which particular domain we're most interested in working in?
Potentially, yes. And the one thing that I will additionally say, ad hoc subcommittees, at least what is currently set up procedural wise, is that commissioners can only serve on one ad hoc subcommittee at a time. Once you complete that task, you are able to then move on to another subcommittee, but you cannot serve on more than one at a time. And so the intent really behind that is so that you're not serving on multiple and having to spread yourself thin. The hope is to focus on that one project or task, complete that. And subcommittees can be 1, 2, or a maximum of 3. It has to be less than a quorum of commissioners, which for the senior commission, 7-member body, no, 4 is a quorum. So it has to be 3 or less. So you could potentially have individual ad hoc subcommittees as needed for the tasks that you would like to achieve.
It seemed to me that it might be really helpful when you present this to the city council to be able to say that the senior commission has already taken on these topics, maybe not all of them, by interest of others, but particular topics that there's already a commitment to follow through, so that the city council would feel that, yeah, we're putting some time and energy into specific domains.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go the other way, because city council dictates what happens. So do we want to follow what city council would interview first?
And I just want to preface, I am not here to tell Los Santos how to implement the action plan. My job here is to just say, the plan has been put together, this is a foundation, it's a roadmap for the city to follow. They may have to implement maybe 80% of the packet and not the whole action plan. It really is ultimately city council, they decide what the priorities are, and then how you go from there, but it's not for me to dictate.
Jump in?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so I had another point for the domain number 4, where there are 2 actions that are, I'm trying to figure out here.
Can I just ask a quick question before we get off domain name?
Sure.
What exactly is meant by aging and adult services? That's the last one there.
Oh, yes, that is a specific division of Santa Clara County. So that is the name of that particular division. So Aging and Adult Services is through Santa Clara County, and that's a specific call out to that division.
The reason I ask the question is, having just moved into a place like Bridgepoint, there are at least 2 terraces in Bridgepoint, full of seniors, amazing. And I'm wondering if somehow we can get them involved, not just the people that live there, but they have transportation, they have programs, they have all sorts of things, speakers.
And that's something the senior commission can work with them and include them in this, yes.
Survey, but I think going forward, we can include them in the implementation as well. Very good point.
Another way that I was looking at it is when you look at any domain, the 4 boxes, there's a time frame.
Yeah.
So the earliest time frame is 6 months to 1 year. If we agree with that, so we know that that's going to be an early adoption. Then the responsible staff is attached to that. And then we work with them and partners to help figure out how to implement but the city council will make a decision. Let's say there's 6 major categories, but they think really we should focus on 4 of them, then that's what we'll do. They set the direction. Is that correct?
And then the city council can play with the time frame too. Like I said, this is just,
If they think it's one thing that's important, yeah.
it is just approximate, like in my mind, I mean, I have served on a council, but your council may have different, priorities, so I just kind of just rough estimates. And like I said, it's a roadmap, so they can look at this and say, we may not be following this time schedule exactly, but there's a few things we definitely will do earlier than later. What happens is this is a 3-year plan. And then what happens after the 3 years is you do an evaluation. You put your own evaluation form together. And you kind of look through your action plan, you look at your matrix, and this gets sent to the AARP. And you just kind of do a 1-page, 2-page, 3-page summary of what you've accomplished. The biggest goal is to just make sure you're actually working on the action plan.
Yeah.
You may not be following it exactly, and that's okay. We just don't want to go through all the time and the effort that your community has put into this for it to sit on a shelf.
So you want to speak?
Well, yeah,
Go ahead.
so I just want to help you understand that when you chose to move forward on a plan like this, you're taking ownership of that plan. You should be familiar with the plan, understand which ones should be prioritized. Instead of coming to council and saying, what do you want us to do? It's making sure that you understand, here's what we feel action should be taken on. This area should have priority. We've already done this. You really have to really be clear and communicate. That's why you're the advisors, right? You're making the recommendation as well. So like when you have park commissioners or historic commission, it's because we've had a parks master plan. And these are what is identified in the master plan. And this is like your master plan on what you're going to be following. And so here's the things that we need to act upon. So it's not, let's have city council tell us what to do. So I just want to encourage you to understand that, yes, we have a roadmap and here's the focus that we should be prioritizing.
You're working in partnership.
Yes, but we give you the support when asked. But remember, you're taking the leadership role on this.
And the other thing I suggest too is, for cities that we've worked with earlier on in the stage, I know Daly City being one of them. What has also worked is that they have a senior advisory committee because they're on the senior commission. But what they do also is they do quarterly updates on all the domains. They give a presentation to the city council. So the city council knows that they're working on this, they're, accomplishing goals. And they're looking at, the timeline. Like I said, you don't want it sitting on the shelf. They've taken ownership, like we mentioned, and then they give the updates. Then at least it gives the council, one, the background of what's going on. And then 2, if the council has some feedback, it gives them that opportunity.
So I have a question. I think a main implementer of this plan really is the staff. Is that not true? Because does the steering commission gets involved with actual implementation and hands-on? Which one is the case?
That is really up to your city. Like I said, I'm the one that just presents the plan. However, what many cities do is they work in partnership with their staff.
Yeah.
But they also have a hands-on approach.
The
Staff,
commissions have a hands-on.
yes,
Okay.
the staff have, say you're working on, let's just say you're working on a transportation issue. Your staff may say, okay, you may want to contact so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so, and give feedback. Then you're doing, that work. You can't expect the staff to do everything. Right.
No, it's true. I think in the past, what we've done, what worked well from my vantage point, having been involved with the commission for this long, is when the staff and the commission work hand in glove. Essentially, the subcommittee ad hoc subcommittee we appoint has a staff member associated with it that works with it. And if that's in fact the case, then in my viewpoint, that subcommittee that owns each one of these domains moves forward with the help of the staff and the commission simultaneously. Is that not true? I mean, that's what we've done in the past, and yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
When I look at the role that I expect to play, I'm gonna need some help from outside sources. I have an existing relationship with the forum. And I participate in talks there monthly. So is it okay if we talk with other people and even have them, if they're willing, to assist us in some of the actual physical time-consuming work? It won't happen otherwise.
Yeah, so to your question, Commissioner Buckholz, the simple answer is yes. A lot of these projects will take, whether it's staff or the commission or volunteers that will help with the overall movement of some of these projects. There may be some that will have to be staff specific, like if it's a CIP project or something like that, where you're talking about adjusting a road or upgrading a facility. There will be very specific projects that will be in the hands of staff specifically. But some of these other projects that are highlighted in the action plan can be done potentially by commissioners or volunteers as well. And in a sense, some of those are actually called out to maybe work with another local community organization or to partner with an organization. And, making those connections or starting to work with that. It may not necessarily start with the staff. It could be with a commissioner, it could be with a volunteer, and then it can continue forward. So it will be a combination of different partnerships in that way.
Go ahead, Doris.
The subcommittee.
Speak up, could you speak up a little?
The subcommittees that we're going to create, we can invite other people to join, beyond the people who are part of the commission. I think that was still special.
Not formally on the subcommittee, but working in
Working in
collaboration.
Collaboration, right?
Yes.
Collaborate.
Yeah. And I'd like to take it a step further. I know we're getting the subject here, but I just want to take it one step. When we redo our work plan, which is on the agenda today too, we're not gonna get all that done today, but we're just gonna, well, the way I see this, one domain by one domain. The work plan's already set up in the domains.
Yes.
So what I see is just plug in the stuff. And then the ad hoc committees can pick, like, let's prioritize 1 through 8, one work on the first 3, get ad hoc committees set up with that. I don't think we should have loose people just floating out there. I think it should be all under a structure, because it's gonna be very hard to regulate it otherwise.
And like I said, I had looked at your work plans and tried to incorporate it as much as I could in this. I don't believe in reinventing the wheel.
But it's a really
That's
good
seamless.
for us going forward. Thank you. Okay, any other comments?
Yeah, the two areas I'm most interested in are number 8, the health services, and number 2, the transportation. So I can't be on 2, you have to choose one, so hopefully.
Yeah, but once one is once a strategy is finished and when you can go over it, that makes,
This is big, it's gonna take a while.
Yeah, I know. It seems like some should overlap. It's gonna be tough.
Actually, you would re-agendize it for further discussion, what you would do. The ask today is for you to review the draft and to consider this, to be moved on to council.
So
Yeah.
we can create subcommittees at this meeting.
Not today.
Today's agenda is for the next.
Yeah.
All you're doing today on this action plan is saying to me, we are good with this.
Yeah.
You can
Not the
present to the council.
implementation today. I think that's it. Yeah, I think it's.
Yes, so to expand, the topic at hand is to review the action plan itself. And if there are any recommended adjustments or edits or anything to the action plan itself. Further into the meeting, we will have agenda items specifically for the work plan where we can have a discussion on ad hoc subcommittees. So the specific topic at hand is just the action
So
plan
someone
itself.
has to make a motion to approve the action plan as is stated, or with some exceptions, is that
Yeah,
right?
as long as all the commissioners have had an opportunity to provide feedback, yeah.
So I have a question about the addition. There was an additional domain, which was.
Yes. Emergency services, yes.
And that's a topic near and dear to my heart, and I see that as actually cutting across a number of the other topics. And I wondered why it's sort of an appendix rather than a key domain in itself. First of all, and second of all, is there a way to officially incorporate it into some of the other domains? Or is that beyond the purview and we just kind of accept the plan and then we have a subcommittee that wants to work on emergency preparedness? They could do so.
So, yes, you are correct. There are 8 domains. We said 8 domains because that's what the AARP defines as 8 domains. When we started working on this with a variety of cities, emergency services just kept coming up time and time and time again. So we just did it. You see your 8 domains, the emergency service, we don't even have it under appendices. We have it right after. It says additional domain. And so, because we felt it was important to include it as a separate domain, but I don't have domain 9 because we didn't want people to get confused about, well, AARP has 8 domains, why give an extra domain? And then it has the strategies, the goals and everything else. So how you use that, it will be totally up to you. You may use it as a separate domain. You may include it in another domain if you feel it works better. But we did it separately because we felt it was so important among so many cities that it needed its own additional domain title.
So in essence, we have 9 domains.
Correct. And some cities are saying we don't want emergency services. So we kind of threw it out there, but Los Altos, that was one topic that was discussed frequently.
In the action plans, other cities that I've read, they really narrowed it down to maybe 3 main topics, 3 main domains. We can get really busy with those 3 and do stuff.
Yes.
So at some point, we're gonna have to touch base.
And that's fine. We just want to give you the holistic picture of everything. And then it'll be up to the cities on how they move forward. Some cities, like Daly City, is doing all 9. And they have subcommittees for all 9, and they're moving forward with all 9. There are others that are taking the top 5. They have a lot of people. You have to remember, they are a city of 120,000 people. They have a lot more staff too.
Yeah.
So you have to put that in perspective, of course. Los Altos is one of our smaller cities, and we have Brisbane that only has 4,000 people. That we've worked with them, and so they're only gonna pick, it looks like they may only pick 3, and that's fine.
So I don't know how far out of order this is. But I would really love to have this agendized for November. The
What part of
Basically,
it, what
the
part of agenda?
choice of, let's say, the top 3
That should
issues.
be a separate subject. We are here today. When I present to the council, it is not what you want to move forward with the subcommittees and so forth. It's just strictly what you see in front of you. This might be how far.
Requests and agending, agendizing the selection of the top three.
You could just say, you're gonna focus on what you're asked at hand today. Then your second thing is, we would like to continue, or we would like to agendize this item for further discussion on how we would like to, talk about committees and stuff like that.
So-
But the focus right now, yes. And then you can move on to your next thing is for your next agenda.
Isn't this already agendized?
So process wise, I think the best way to describe this is, we should would come back as Ann and, Councilmember Lee Ing mentioned, whether or not we're going to recommend the action plan forward to city council for approval and adoption. That's the first part. We need to make sure that council adopts and approves that first. Then process-wise, it will come back to the commission where you can incorporate that into how you set up your work plan. And ultimately, your work plan is where you can start having the discussion of what those foci are and what the priorities would be, and then setting up the ad hoc subcommittees appropriately to then start addressing those. So the first part is to get this action plan forwarded. Having then the next one would be having city council adopt and approve it. And then knowing, okay, this is our roadmap. How do we then want to plan accordingly? And that can inform the action plan, or sorry, work plan. Sorry, there's two words with work plan or plan in it, so it can inform the work.
And then the other thing, and like it, that's enough. Just to let you know too, after the council approves it, then I send it to AARP for their approval. So and that they usually get back to us within a month. We've never had one denied. All our certifications of state cities and Xanthera have been now doing action plans. I don't see that as an issue whatsoever, but I just want to let you know that it's also
Before it's
part of the process.
Before
we
it comes
can
back
proceed
here, it's
forward.
gonna go.
We can proceed forward as AARP is looking at the result.
Yes, absolutely.
So you're not walking through them at the same time.
No, yeah, you can do it at the same time. I just want to inform you that the AARP also approves the plan.
Also, I think in the past, all the major projects that we have undertaken has been essentially in the framework of a work plan. And this, there is no different, there's no reason why this should be essentially a driver for the plan, as a framework. And then we can, in the context of work plan, we can assign we can prioritize and assign the ad hoc subcommittees and so forth.
Has AARP acceptance delay us?
Yeah.
So we can continue, just that.
Jamie, what date is it going to council? What date?
So that, at this point, I still need to confirm, as you all know, in October, council is working on the topic of redistricting. And that is a large topic that they are currently working on, which is then affecting at least scheduling for meetings into November, which this is what would also fall on. So I'm just confirming that we would be able to go forward in November. Once that date is confirmed, I will obviously confirm all of that. But if everything goes to plan, I believe that at least the redistricting topic is in plan to be discussed in October. And so I will confirm that information as far as when this will go forward, pending recommendation by the senior commission, that what date it will be in.
And if it doesn't, we don't have a December meeting and it's gonna jump it to January. So I just want you to get a sense of the timing.
Absolutely.
Longer than, that's a little longer than you think, depending on what.
So I make a motion, we approve the
The action plan, the final draft. That is here.
Second.
Is there any,
And so we have,
is there any discussion? I have one. I made quite a few edits in it. Did you incorporate some that you thought were appropriate in? Is that what we're, I know to be true or not true at all?
no, you, could, Vice, or well, now Chair Cohen, was on the task force, and the draft that you see is number 9. And this is not necessarily representative of all the, compilation of edits. We were, holding off on making any, just in case there were additional edits by the senior commission, so then they could be done all at once. But it does incorporate some of the edits that you had suggested.
For the next draft. But I didn't know about any because I have other, so it's possible that even with edits, we can approve it
Yes.
today, but there might be some additional edits here.
Yes, and they're more format versus I will say
Yeah.
large change as far as I'm not quite getting my words out here, but substantive changes.
So do we have to, our motion to approve?
No, it's just, we're going to build it in there. That's-
Yes.
Got it.
Edits.
Yeah, there's a lot of, I mean, I have mine in front of me and there's all these little comments all the way down from your last meeting and, we just didn't want to send this to the graphic artist and then have more changes and send it back to them. We're trying to use our time wisely. So.
We don't want to mislead the council that it's gonna be a completely different
And then
document.
the council may also have a few edits too, and if that happens, we'll go back and do it more. Hopefully, our contract ends in December, so hopefully we'll have the meeting in November because we don't want to be doing a bunch of stuff after November to this document.
Yeah. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. Can you restate the motion? Second.
I second.
Okay. Could you please read?
So
Reread the-
basically, your motion just has to include that you are accepting the action plan document. And
Recommended.
recommending this document to the city council
Is
for
there a certain
approval.
number of this, is it numbered or dated, the last version that we're gonna hand in? I don't have it, so I don't know.
It's a moving
There's no
document.
date.
If there was a content issue, then that would be different, but this is not a content issue. You're doing little edits.
Track of where we are, so.
I understand, but there's gonna be we're gonna have a newer version to present to the council. We're gonna make all those edits before we present to the council.
So when do we get to celebrate its birthday?
It's approved at the council level.
Okay, so we have a suggestion of the verbiage you need in your motion.
What did you say? We should give you a review.
You move to approve the Los Altos Action Plan draft 2024 and recommend approval by the city council.
Yeah, that's a motion and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Hey, Ann. Are you leaving quickly out the door? Hurry up. Is there anything else we need to do on this topic? Good? Thank you so much, Ann. You're welcome. For your hard work. We know that.
It's been really wonderful working with you all, and then, of course, your council meetings are open to the public, so it's always good to have, cities are very good at having their task force members present when we do this.
Public here.
And I will probably be presenting it a little differently to the city council, so usually what we do, I rely on knowing that the council members have already looked at this document prior to that meeting. And so I usually just kind of do maybe a short PowerPoint presentation because we do not want to take an hour at the council meeting and try to get kind of the gist of it in like 10 minutes. So that's just what you know.
Yep.
More than 10 slides, 1 minute per slide.
Yeah, so it will be condensed, so I just wanted to let you know, so you're not, in case you're there and you're sitting in the audience going, why isn't she presenting the action plans? Council members represent all the, they read all the documentation for all their projects ahead of time, and so They should be actually at the council meeting prepared. And if they have, questions, I'm there to answer the questions, but it will be a short presentation. Okay, great. Thank you so much. And thank you all, for helping throughout this whole process. It's been, I think we came out with a really good document. And, so hopefully, council will approve it and then you have a lot of work ahead of you. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, we're going on to the next topic, which is the work plan. Are we able to do anything with this, or do we need to defer this?
No,
this item?
actually, so number 4 is actually,
Transportation.
yes,
Yeah, sorry, transportation, and we have a speaker.
we do. So this particular one, background on this, is to review and discuss transportation alternatives for road runners. So at the last, senior commission meeting, it was requested to be, agendized, given the change to the Roadrunner program. So that is what is on the item for discussion, and we do have a member of the public that wishes to speak on this item.
Before we invite them, does everyone understand what Roadrunners is? Okay, so do you know what it is? Okay, we should say what it is because they won't understand the discussion otherwise. So, I don't know it that well, but I know that El Camino Health, El Camino Hospital has had this program for years, where they've made.
We have an expert here on it who's one of the runners.
Yeah,
Well, I know, but he's going to speak.
I think he's
On
gonna discuss
behalf.
the whole
Oh,
program.
are you gonna go over the whole process?
And if that's what you would like.
Yeah.
Because I was a road runner driver for, I think, 9 years.
Go ahead.
Okay, so you wanna come up into the podium and then we can.
So
What-
it's, I think, cause as a member of the public, we would have to limit the amount of time unless there were questions. Unless there were clarifying questions specifically, so specific to comments and then, we can clarify with questions.
Yeah.
But the initial comment should be the 3 minutes or less.
Or you can allow some flexibility.
Yes.
Yeah.
More flexible.
Yeah.
As needed.
Double the-
I think you
the
can
time.
vote. I think you can-
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't, what is his name? James.
His, Clifford,
Cliff.
Cliff.
Rick Ryan.
Thank you so much for coming.
That's okay.
We really
So
appreciate it.
3 minutes?
For right now on the.
That's okay. Mike needs back to go, so go ahead and.
And that will, for 2 minutes, okay?
So I'll briefly go over the Roadrunners plan. El Camino Hospital had a program where they supplied transportation within, I think, about a 10-mile radius to people that needed to go to appointments. I guess it started out originally medical appointments, but it went to any appointments. And El Camino Hospital supplied the cars, the insurance, the gas, and then there were, I think, probably 10 to 15 volunteers. And the volunteers were not paid. We didn't need the money, we were doing it to give back.
Was it the drivers that were the volunteers?
The drivers were the
Drivers.
volunteers.
Okay.
Now, the people that worked in the office and coordinated all of the transportation were paid for by El Camino Hospital. So it was a nice plan. We didn't have to worry about insurance. We collected no money. That was taken care of by El Camino Hospital. And it was a real door-to-door service. So this statement that it was partnering with Lyft for door-to-door is not even close.
I think that's. And so what happened then?
Well, the door-to-door that Roadrunners supplied actually took people beyond the door-to-door. There was one lady I picked up that was legally blind. She had made arrangements at Nog Hill to have a clerk do her shopping, and I would pick her up after the shopping, generally about an hour. Put her groceries in and take them up and put them actually inside her trailer. The other thing that we did is we could pick up people after procedures. Yes, you have a question?
No, she has strobe light going.
Oh, sorry, I want to take an emergency call. Keep going.
So the procedures were things like colonoscopies, surgeries. Lyft cannot take those, they won't insure it. Roadrunners, we could, so a large number of my customers were people going home from a procedure. In some cases, going to a procedure. Some of the people just taking them to appointments, they needed assistance getting into the actual appointment themselves. So we would do that. Lyft does not do that. In fact, a lot of the complaints I had from the people that were having to switch over to this service, they did not like Lyft because they were rude. Roadrunners, we were not under an absolute time schedule because we worked together. In some cases, we ended up waiting for somebody because they fell asleep or didn't get up in time. So we would be patient and work with they called it the barn, the people that coordinated the transportation. So it was really pro seniors that really need the assistance. Since it's gone to Lyft, that's not the case anymore.
What made it stop and when did it stop?
I've heard too many stories and I'm
Oh,
not the right
okay.
person to discuss
Okay,
that.
sorry.
They stopped it essentially
It
in
was
one day.
instant, it was instant, It just, you know, they didn't have a lot of time to make the change, I know that.
Well, yeah, it was pretty much,
Yeah.
2 weeks' notice. It was probably economics. I'm not surprised because they had 10 cars.
Okay,
And they
so
were
thank
getting
you so much for
expensive. They
that
were over
overview.
200,000 miles.
Thank you for the overview. So now you've come to speak to us, so.
So my reason for speaking is just to say that this was an important process and a lot of people have fallen off the availability. There's no way that people can go and get home from procedures these days. And you don't have the same care just delivering them to appointments. So I'm not sure what to do about that. You still have the financial. It has to be considered. And I don't know how much of the infrastructure they had supporting this whole system is gone now. I think a lot of the drivers would probably be willing to get back into that. I still volunteer as a shuttle driver, boring, but you know, at least I'm still involved a little bit. So I think it was kind of a short-sighted plan if you're really out to help the elderly and the physically needed people to get to appointments. So that's just my reason for being here.
So you're here tonight to ask us to do what? Tell us what you would like us to
What
do.
am I here for? You asked me to come
Well,
and
give
speak.
it a shot. Give it a shot. You want us to help by writing a formal letter or what would?
I don't know. How can we get this started again?
Okay.
It's important for the public and there's a lot of people out there that no longer have this service.
We really appreciate your input.
So-
Because we've been feeling similarly, so we just wanted to know.
Make a
Go ahead,
suggestion.
Jim.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking that we can possibly try to incorporate a little more human touch with the Lyft. If there's a way that they could do that, maybe get the El Camino involved. That way, if they have a way out from this under the economic stress that they felt they were in, and causing it to more or less stop the program. But at the same time, try to introduce an element of human touch with the Lyft, sponsored by the El Camino Hospital. In other words, those drivers that get called are called under the more or less under the auspices of El Camino Hospital. Therefore, they're responsible for making sure that some of the services you're providing to the people that, for example, doing colonoscopies, you know, they're not going to be compass lenders at the end of it or something like that. They are being handled. Is that a possibility?
I don't know, because the distinct differences between the two is the volunteers were all retired and not financially in need of the hours. Lyft, all of the drivers are earning a living. And that's a major difference, especially in this area
I
here.
just to clarify one,
Comments, we love comments.
clarify, it's El Camino Healthcare, which is an organization, it's a big, big, big umbrella.
Yes, it is.
It extends down to the Mosquitoes.
Yes.
So the economics with Mogshire.
Yeah. That's why I said.
Shabari,
So I have a
let
comment,
Shabari, oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
just a comment. There was one of the things, as I mentioned earlier, since we have recently moved to a retirement, they all have transportation for the people that live there for medical appointments, whatever.
They don't.
They do,
They do.
they do.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's
It's an-
possible,
it's
but
an
I'm
advantage.
wondering if somehow, at least some of it could be in conjunction with, for example, the terraces or Bridgepoint or even the Forum, since they have the
So we're
transportation
partner-
sitting there
Partner with,
To work in
to
collaboration.
partner and make them part of this, possible transportation. They would be more amenable because they do that already. So they know.
Thank you.
I have a question. Is it possible that we separate, beforehand, those patients who will need assistance along with transportation? Or no assistance needed at the hospital or at the delivery point? Is that, or is it just an ad hoc, the lady with the.
it has to do with whether they get sedative analgesics.
Yeah.
So.
That would be
those
known beforehand.
who don't need, if it's just local and they don't need sedation, then it's a. Yeah, right.
So then my question was that if there is no need for additional assistance, then Lyft would take care of that.
Yeah.
And if there is need, then we could start getting more drivers. And it's like we can also look for terraces and those kind of places for help with drivers. Maybe that could be something we could.
Well, the reason I mentioned was that I was in the transportation subcommittee for some time with Kevin. And one of the things that we were more or less on the track of was to get some kind of a central dispatch. In this case, be the city, I think it could be a community, somebody that that senior people that are in need of extra help, they can call, and that dispatch is the one who takes care of making sure that the Lyft is performing the services that are needed for those particular people that need an extra help. That's really what the question is whether or not that can be done.
Well,
What other comments do we have?
Well, let me make a point. This is agendized because I'm sure Dr. Buckles heard from other people and you have heard, you've all heard from other people the impact this has had in the community. I'm not the expert, so I've heard from the drivers as well, how this has impacted, they've heard from the community, how the people they've driven around have been affected and the service that they get. The drivers are vetted, people built up relationship. There's a really big level of trust with the drivers in the community. So what I was hearing from the community is, yes, how do we bring it back? But in order to bring it back, the board failed to have an opportunity to have the people come and speak. This was never agendized there on their board agenda.
Yeah.
So I think what they're asking is either you
Yeah,
make a recommendation to either get a letter to,
Yeah.
yes, to have it, reconsidered and to have a proper opportunity for outreach to hear from the community. And that's what it is, to really understand. So either you you as a senior commission can encourage the council to as well write to the board to have it, you know, agendized for
them too.
to have the public have an opportunity to
So
hear.
I'm not familiar with the board mechanism. Is it possible for a collection of us to attend the board meeting, get out an agenda and make this plea to them? Is that possible or is that not possible?
As long as you discuss it and you say, you know, we've heard from our community, we've been impacted, and we strongly feel we would like representatives of the senior commission to speak at the board meeting to relay what we've heard. And that's, you know,
That sounds to me like a
relaying
good idea.
information or representing your senior community.
So there are a number of options that the
Correct.
senior commission can take depending upon what the commission would like to do. It could be forming an ad hoc subcommittee or selecting if all the commissioners would like to go, or you would like to create an ad hoc subcommittee to attend a board meeting or to contact the board members. It could also be in the form of drafting a letter to be sent to the board itself, if you are not interested in physically going to the meeting, or it could be both. So it could be any of those combinations depending upon the discussion at the commission.
Pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you for your service. We appreciate your service.
Thank you.
And how many years have you volunteered?
I have 8 or 10 years, something like
Thank
that.
you.
Since I retired, I was 72 then. So
That you're driving
I have-
all the time.
Bill knows I do a lot of other things, right, other than just road running. Thank you.
So do you have a motion?
Yeah,
Subcommittee?
you can put it in the future agenda at number 10.
So you can take, this is an action item.
Yeah, this is
And
an
you
action
can
item.
choose,
Decide
you can
to do.
choose to take action at this time, or if you feel that it needs further discussion or outreach, you can agendize it for a future meeting, but where it sits, you can take action if you want to create an ad hoc, or you could just say, we would like to draft a letter, then it would be selecting someone or a small ad hoc committee to draft the letter, or selecting ad hoc committee members to determine when the next board meeting is to attend. Or it could be both. So it could be selecting an ad hoc to write the letter and attend.
Sharp would like to
I'm sorry.
Yes, I'd like to speak. There's although I don't feel qualified to be on the ad hoc committee for this, there could be 3 people from this group
Yeah.
who could form an ad hoc committee, figure out some more details and go attend a board meeting.
So let's make a motion to form subcommittee.
Maybe other people.
Either that, and I make a comment.
Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah.
You can do that, or you can have an ad hoc say, let's
Yeah.
put the letter together and put all our names on it, and then send the information to Jamie to then tell us of when the board meeting is, so that way in this, if we have the letter already being written by somebody here at the board commission.
I would like somebody's legal background to write it.
Well, that's fine. It seems to me like there's so many steps. We have to form a subcommittee to more or less go through all these sub elements that we have to write a letter,
And
get
then,
ourselves on a board
Welcome to
agenda.
the government. You're
Yeah.
in government work, you know.
So to simplify things, we can simplify it. The commission, now it is what the commissioners feel would be the best steps, but if you would like, you can simplify it to say that the commission is going to approve the subcommittee to finalize the letter. So it would not have to come back unless the commission would like to see the letter. If the commission would like to see the letter, that would extend the time frame. But the commission could decide to allow the subcommittee to finalize the letter and present it to the next board meeting that comes up. So you could be very specific to allow the ad hoc subcommittee the ability to move forward. Unless the commission would, as a whole, like to see it before it goes to the board, but that would add an additional meeting between it going forward. So you have both of those options before.
Yes.
Make it quick.
Yes, you can keep it simple.
Vote to let the ad hoc committee, who understands more, to go ahead.
For the alcohol.
What you would do is to clarify what points you would like in the letter. Because you can't just say, let's give them direction to go fly and write a letter. You wanna be clear on what you're asked, or what points you wanna put into the letter. And you specify those points. You know, like, you would like to encourage them to either agendize it or, you know, revisit the decision, things like that. But these are specific points you want in the letter. And then we can direct the people who volunteered to be on that committee to draft the letter and present the
Isn't
letter.
that
Their
better?
next meeting is October 9th.
Isn't that better to have a subcommittee form and let the subcommittee look through it all and decide whether to write the letter only or write a letter and attend the board meeting or a few other steps in addition?
Jim, she just said that the next meeting is October 9th. If we want to get any word across, we need to take action today.
What is the meeting after that? When is it? Maybe October 9th?
Where's the phone? Okay, I'm sorry.
I
Was
think
it
it's
Dolores?
Well, Bill and I think.
Doris and I
a
are
couple of
happy
us-
to be that subcommittee.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, but we shouldn't get there yet. What else? Anybody else have any comments? I'd like to make a comment. Does anyone else have any comments? You know, I definitely want to support the Roadrunners. I mean, just from, but what I'm basing it on is hearsay. I don't base anything on hearsay. I like data, and I think we're gonna look foolish just by, you know, shooting from the hip and writing, you know, a letter that really doesn't have any meat. We have to have meat in the letter. Where's the meat? You know, where's the beef? Dolores, where's the beef?
I'm a carnivore.
Okay, well, you come up with the beef. Otherwise, I don't do any letter. Okay, Dolores.
Inconvenience and this.
Yes,
This is
I
not
mean, we do.
hearsay. We find all things aware, but that's not hearsay, that's data. You have direct experience of it. In my household, we have direct
If you're
experience.
to say, you know, based on your information, there's something what we kind of hear. Right.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to point that out, that in general, it's good to have to look at facts. So if you feel comfortable about it. Okay, so we're gonna make a motion to do this.
October 15th, sorry, I missed.
Are you talking about the El Camino Health meeting or what? Which meeting?
Yeah,
The district meeting, I don't think it's the district meeting. I don't know if it's El Camino.
So-
We have to find out who the audience was in charge of Roadrunners before we start. Right?
I have the guy's name.
And depending upon, so as Councilmember Lee pointed out, it would be good to give high level bullet points of what you would like included in the letter, if possible. And then I can work with the subcommittee, confirming the date. And so maybe you could give a little bit of flexibility, because that is a short timeline. That maybe we identify and you just specify that it needs to be presented at a future meeting. So if the next meeting, which might be next week, doesn't work out, maybe it could go to the following meeting, if possible. Just so that there might be a little bit of flexibility for the subcommittee.
Okay, so do we need a motion to make a subcommittee to this, sir? Okay, who wants to make a motion to have a subcommittee? Okay, Chris, is there a second? I second. Any comments? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Let's,
Any abstentions?
Rewind just a little bit, because we need to specify who's gonna be on the.
Get to that. We're gonna get.
Well, we don't do that in one motion to create the ad hoc subcommittee of commissioners.
Dolores.
Are the subcommittee for.
Do you feel comfortable with two? Okay, okay, we have a motion on the floor for Dolores and Bill to be on the subcommittees. Is there a second?
Yes, I second.
I think you should.
Okay, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Okay, so Bill and Dolores, you're gonna draft a letter?
Yes.
Do you have a good sense of the bullet points you wanna make? I think you'll be able to.
Yes, I think we.
All right, so now the question is, do we want it to come back to us or not? Wasn't that an issue that you brought up earlier?
Do
Do
you
we
trust
need-
us?
I totally trust you, but does anyone want it to come back? We want you to proceed with Jamie, but with Jamie, work with Jamie. Yes. And then we're good. Okay, we're good. Okay, let's go on. Move on. Thank you, very much. Thank you, Lynette, for speaking and helping us and everything else. Okay, the next thing is the work plan. I know we got that a little
So
while.
Jamie? What does that
Anyway,
mean? To
so-
present it to the board and to
Is
send the letter?
it tonight for us to discuss?
I just want to make sure.
Yes. Is it fruitful for us to discuss the work plans? We don't really have enough information to start making changes, or we're gonna add the subcommittee to it for sure.
Yes, I will add the subcommittee, and so the main point I wanted to make is, this is kind of the final of the 23-24 work plan, because it was completed in September 2024. We are now in the new term. What I wanted to talk through is we have a number of driving factors, such as that subcommittee, the ad hoc subcommittee that was just formed. In addition to the action plan, which will eventually has been recommended to city council and will hopefully ultimately be approved. Our goal is to now create and update a new work plan to represent what the commission would like to work on for 24-25 that will carry us through to September 2025. So with that in mind, we do need to have a final work plan that can be shared with city council by January of next year, which means that we can have, obviously it be agendized for November and also agendized in January. So we do have 2 additional meetings, but I wanted to provide that context to the commission. So, and especially since we have 2 new commissioners that are joining us, I thought it might be good just to do a brief overview, because again, as it was mentioned, it is structured like the 8 domains for the action plan in the World Health Organization. And then we have it broken up into smaller tasks, which obviously you see quite a few completed in the status. And there are a handful that will carry over. But I just wanted to provide that context, so if you wanted to briefly start that conversation, or if we need to make any adjustments to what was previously completed, and then we can move into creating the new work plan for the next term year.
Okay. Does anyone have any ideas the way they wanna handle it?
Yes, once you go through the 23-24 work plan and are ready to talk about the next year's, I do have an idea for one ad hoc. So let me know.
Okay, so on the first, does everybody have this in front of them?
Is that the
The
one
work,
that's
this is the
online?
work plan.
It is the one
Okay.
that's online as well too, and we do have. Yes. I can actually share it up on the screen as well too.
So the first one, Go ahead and tell me when you're ready.
I apologize, I have a lot of windows open on my laptop. Go.
Thank you. And scroll it up just a little bit, so you get the outdoor spaces and buildings in there if you can, but we don't need that right now. Okay, I'd like to propose something. The first big block on the left says recently Los Altos as age-friendly. We certified Los Altos as age-friendly city. We've completed everything in that whole big block under 3 categories. It's all completed. The next categories that come along are the 8 domains. We don't have the emergency preparedness on here, which we can add. Yep. Okay, which I think we should. What I would say for just tonight, because I think it's a lot, is to look at the 8 domains, think about them in your mind, and think not pick the actual little things we're gonna do, the projects yet, but what domain rocks your boat, you know what I mean, that you think you would be interested in working on. So at least we can start from there. So, would people be agreeable to that?
Yeah.
That's just the structure for us? Okay, so the structure is up here, but the projects will change. So what we're saying is, so these are the basic topics. The first one's outdoor spaces and buildings, that's 1 domain. The second one is transportation. The third is housing. The fourth is social participation. The 5th is respect and social inclusion. The next one is communication and information. And the 8th is community support and healthcare services. We're gonna add a 9th box, which is going to be whatever we called it in here, emergency prepared, whatever exactly the title was.
Yes.
We'll call it that. Okay, so does anyone have a love that they want to share with the group? Go ahead, Chris.
I'd like to continue, with social participation.
Which do you want to do?
Social participation.
Okay, good. We'll see. A lot of people are gonna want some things and some people. Okay, so we'll just jot it down now, who's saying what. So Chris Olson, social participation. Anybody else have a love? Go ahead.
Social participation.
Okay, Chabri also, social participation. Bill? What, the healthcare services one? There's 2, there's respect and social inclusion, and there's, community support and healthcare services. Which one do you want?
The healthcare services.
Okay, Bill's the last one, the last one.
The domain was in a different kind of.
No, we got that, we supposed to get the exact titles here, but maybe we had a word off, I'm not sure, but I didn't think it did. The 2 close ones were the respect and social inclusion, because we were very social isolation. So social inclusion was covered. And then the real healthcare services was
Isolation, loneliness is.
yeah, do you want to do that one instead of the healthcare services, or what? Or think about it in a few minutes. Who has
I'll
other
do-
things?
I'll do that,
Which one?
the social participation.
And Chair Cohen, the only reminder that I will put is that, as a reminder, we can't do ongoing subcommittees. So it is, committees are tied specifically to projects and tasks. So like you said, it is good to indicate where your interest is, but it will specifically be.
See what the things they have
Yeah,
to do.
it'll be specifically tied to tasks.
Well, it's not called that, it's called, okay, so
Social participation.
Bill is doing, wants to be in the category respect and social inclusion. Right, exactly, busy talking. So, does anybody want to have a love for outdoor spaces and buildings? You don't have to sign up for anything right now, you just think about it. Okay, does anybody have a love for transportation?
I've done so much of that in the past, I'm not.
You wanna do it or you don't wanna do that?
Not really,
Okay, pick one, pick
Okay.
one. Okay, then the next one is housing. Anybody interested in housing?
I have to read the report before I can
What'd
sign.
you say?
I need to read this report.
Oh,
before I
yeah.
can sign up.
I know. And it's not only the report, I'll tell you, I would go back to the original WHO document and read what these things are. The report doesn't really tell you what they are exactly. So I think, because we've had so much time to kind of learn the domains and all the little things about it, so it would give you a better idea. Do you think you could?
Yes, I can, yes, I can provide links and or printed copies of the World Health Organization's overall guidelines, which will, correct, which will provide a little bit more context. Yes.
And could you send it to Dolores and to Naomi?
Yes.
And didn't you already get it first early on? You know, we're talking about the whole WHO document? Oh, do you wanna, just send her, send it.
Sure.
Send it to her. Okay. I'm not saying you can't get enough from here, I'm just saying it'll give you a better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want you to jump into something that you're not happy with, so. Okay, then we have,
Maybe you should let them have time to go through the documents before you go. Yeah.
that's the thing. I mean, everyone got this on last Wednesday night.
Yeah, but you have two new people, so
And
maybe.
they just, yeah, so
It'll be fair.
to think that someone could read this and know what the, you know, I don't, so I realize that, that's why I think they would be more time.
I don't want to interrupt your flow of thought, but there's something that I do want to ask.
Go ahead.
For all future things for the senior commission, may I ask for a microphone and a speaker to be placed in the room? Because several people cannot hear each other.
Yes.
Yeah. But people are used to it, thank you. Okay, so. The last three, one is civic participation and employment. The next one is communication and information. And the last one is community support and healthcare services. I think Bill already signed up for it. And I'll probably pick that also.
What did I go through change his mind? The social.
Oh, you want the social, you want the, I know,
Whatever it's called,
well,
I'm gonna do something on.
okay, so let's go back and we'll have to look at the comparative. That's right, social participation is one, and the next one is respect and social inclusion. So you can go back and look that up, but we're not gonna have everyone sign up for everything tonight. I'm just trying to get a sense of if anybody's super interested in anything.
So I'm interested in 8 and 9. Figure that out. Eight health is 8.
Oh, mine is emergency preparedness. You're interested in that?
And
May take one task up at a time.
One at a time, but that's okay to just put your name into 2 right now. Anyone else have a sense of what they wanna do tonight?
Have a dead soft part of.
So we all. Okay, so. Okay, that's all we have for right now.
So I will go ahead.
On the agenda for next slide.
Yes, it will be on the agenda for November and I will adjust the completed and what I will do is do a blank one with the different domains and send that out to the group so that you at least have the breakdown and can kind of look through it.
So we're going to informational items now.
Yes, I will keep this brief. So first is in the flyers, the Family Fun Day. We do have one planned for the end of October in time for Halloween. It will be on October 26th, Halloween hoopla here at the community center, 10 to 1. It is open to families and we usually have anywhere from 500 to 700 people come through. Lots of activities and crafts for people to participate. And then I will also highlight that we have our Halloween movie night down at Grant Park. That is planned for Saturday, October 19th at 7 p.m. And we will be showing Minions: The Rise of Gru. It is completely free for the community, so we encourage those to attend. And then I will also highlight that we are hiring for a variety of different part-time positions, specifically with our Adult 50+ program, to support our pickleball program, and also always looking for facility attendants and actually a clerical assistant position at the front desk as well. So if you know of anyone, please forward that information. And then, sure, absolutely. And then we do still have some space in our kinder prep program. So if you know anyone that is, may have interest in that type of program, please forward that information on. And then I will forward to Bridget, who will share specifics for the Adult 50+ program. That's our preschool age program. Yes. Yes.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll be very brief. With jobs, we also have volunteer opportunities in our special events, Adult 50+ drop-in pickleball program. We have our Coffee Community and Conversation Health Fair that'll be taking place next Wednesday from 10 to 12 at Grant Park in the multi-purpose room. We have our Adult 50+ Thankfulness Luncheon on Thursday, November 14th from 11:30 to 1:15. That's going to be taking place at the Grand Oak here at the Los Altos Community Center. We also have a meetup, Christmas Story, the musical by the Los Altos Stage Company, Thursday, December 5th. Pre-show social 6:45 to 7:45, musical 8 to 10. Location, Los Altos Community Center first, and then the Los Altos Stage Company, formerly known as Bus Barn Theater. Passport discount eligible. Then the Adult 50+ programs annual holiday luncheon, Wednesday, December 11th. 11:15 to 1 at the multi-purpose room at Grant Park Communities.
Thank you. And Amina, who was part of Los Altos Hills, has unfortunately had to leave. So the other things I will also highlight, also in your packet, we have our Zola Diwali event that will be happening at the end of this month. On Wednesday, October 30th, and that will be 11 to 1 here at the community center.
And I have one additional information about that. On the 25th of October, we're going to be setting up our Diwali display in the library. So if anybody has time, please come at about 10:30 in the morning for a picture to be taken along with all of us. So that would be nice.
We also have,
Yes, please.
we also have information. So Grassroots Ecology is the organization that we work with for our Redwood Grove Preserve. So there is a specific event there coming up at the end of the month on the 24th. HiCap, which is a program through our Adult 50+ program. There's an additional flyer. It looks like Los Altos Hills is doing a costume and game night also on October 19th, which is the same night as our Halloween movie night down at Grant. And then they do a trick or treat at town hall, which is on Halloween itself.
Can't you guys talk with each other so we can have two places?
No, absolutely. And so there's obviously a variety of different things going on, but getting into the holiday season, lots of programs, lots of events that are going for the community to participate. But that is it for information.
And does it include the staff or?
Yeah, no additional information, and I wasn't sure, I did list, but I don't know if there were any other additional reports that the subcommittees wanted to report on. Okay, and then the only other one, I know Commissioner Buckholz, you attended the, From Light to Loneliness training. And so you can, share a little bit about. That's right, that Commissioner Olson attended as well. So this would also be a time where you could share, highlights if you.
Right now, or agendized?
It can be, cause this particular section is on commissioner reports too.
Oh.
So you could just share highlights,
The frequency of loneliness is astonishing. Correct me, for sure. But 45% in seniors.
And then.
And then 75% in youth. And 2/3, is it 66% in marriage, marriage couples? So the mortality rate is increased by at least 30% in all cause for people who identify as lonely. Given the frequency of suicide amongst youth, and there's actually a disease called progeria, which means accelerated aging. It's not quite the same, but there is accelerated aging for people who are identified as lonely. So this is a big deal as far as I'm concerned. It's a health issue, it's a social issue, it's a family issue. The possibilities of addressing this period, the organizations that presented themselves at this conference, at least in San Mateo County, plethora. The thing that interested me, and I took up with the YMCA where is seeded volleyball. For the beach ball. And the YMCA was interested in this because this is a form of exercise. Boom, boom. And this is something that can be done in this room. These desks, the net, and those chairs. It becomes an easy way for intergenerational activities. It's fun. People like exercising their competitive muscles.
So we had a rec department, and the beauty of it, and this is where the social participation, which is where I did want to agendize a couple of things, but it's where they had volunteers. And it would be the stretch, bend, and whatever. There was one. That was
Stretch.
Thank you. And so that was something free, and they did it every week, 3 times a week. And it became social engagement. It got seniors there. So I think this loneliness brought up
some great examples that the cities are willing to share with us. We can take these ideas where they won't take necessarily staff, or money necessarily. If you do volunteers, you do have to have space. But that is something where we did gain ideas. Bridget was there also. And to be able to get these, integrate these into plans, like with the club or the +50 group. In addition, and so it would be nice to have time to go, okay, let's agendize it, so we can come up with ideas, rather than just give a summation. They have
Yes, that would be
some
nice.
great ideas
Let's put in a
that
few.
could be implemented at a low cost. And it's, the community many times a week rather than just once.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, and I really like this point, was that you get to know the community there, and if you didn't show up, people would call.
Yeah.
And go, where are you? So that's part of the missing
That's the
communication. The
inclusiveness of the community established. And if you're not there, they're not gonna.
So would that be something to agendize?
And your agenda is talking about the low.
Does it give you a one-page handout that you could share with the group? Oh, we could put it together.
Because that would be great, and then you could highlight it next time, but we have
I'm trying to get the slides.
He's gonna do the
I'm
slides.
gonna try and get the slides out. Physician.
Chris?
So then I'm gonna add to that, because I would love to be able to agendize Club 55. Because that is a group that meets from May until October, and the city goes quite a bit with that. There are a number of other organizations that are Los Altos Forward, the Los Altos Community Foundation are all helping in this group. They have an email list too, so this is an additional way. I think as a senior commission, see if we can expand it into something potentially year-round and get it to where it's more than just the 5 people that have originated this Club 55 and make it more involving, just more than just 5 volunteers. So I'd like to agendize that discussion for the next.
So if there's, so we can go to future agenda items. At the moment, we do have the work plan. We do have the health fair, which was left over from last meeting, and we will have feedback from this upcoming event next Wednesday. And then our commission calendar, we will be finalizing our meeting schedule for 2025. For the suggestions, so we do have a suggestion to agendize a larger conversation on the kind of isolation and programming around that. That was suggested by Commissioners Buckholz and Olson. Is there at least another commissioner that would support agendizing? Okay. And then an additional suggestion on agendizing the Club 55 program and how it encapsulates different organizations and maybe expanding the volunteer base by Commissioner Olson. Are there at least 2? Okay,
We had a flyer about that at the last meeting.
we did. So we have 2. Is there one other commissioner that would support agendizing?
Yeah.
So we will add that to the agenda. Now, I will work with Chair Cohen on the timing of bringing these forward so we don't overload our meetings. We did have a very lengthy topic, which was our action plan. Generally speaking, our meetings are usually a little bit shorter than this.
They are really, so we didn't need them, so could everybody, in preparation for the next meeting, just go back and review those domains so that we have a sense, because we'd like to finalize some part of the work plan. And we need people kind of in each category.
Yes, and I will send out background for those domains.
Okay, I joined. Thank you, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
One thing I've learned, when you're doing